Hello, I'm David Maratone, Executive Chef at Classic Thyme Cooking School in Westfield. Welcome to a holiday cooking class with Thanksgiving side dishes. We call this everything but the turkey. We have an extraordinary number of dishes we're going to try and get through today, so we're going to jump right in with a fresh cranberry sauce. I bought some fresh cranberries. You can sometimes get these frozen when they're out of season. We're going to add to that some sugar, just simple granulated sugar. We have some white Zinfandel wine, which has a little bit of a sweetness to it. The white Zinfandel wine is made with red Zinfandel grapes. They pull the skins out immediately so that it doesn't pull too much color. If you were to take the same process and the same grapes and let those skins soak with the juices from the crushed grapes, you would have the red version of the Zinfandel. The white Zinfandel is sugared during the process to give it a little sweeter flavor. Putting a little bit of some orange liqueur in with that, and we need to put some orange juice. Just squeeze some fresh orange juice. We're also going to add some of the zest from the orange. The zest adds a wonderful flavor. You have to be very careful not to put too much in, as it is very, very strong in flavor. Here's our orange juice. We're going to use our zester. And if you look at the cutting board here, as I grate this orange across the zester, it pulls off just the outer coloring, which is the skin. Once we get down to the white, that's called the pith, and we don't want to put any of that in as it has a very bitter taste. So we just want to zest this orange all the way around. We add orange zest, lemon zest, lime zest, sometimes to baked goods, to sweet items, to salads. I even add it to sauteed vegetables, and it adds a nice little zing to it. Okay, just get the rest of our little bit of zest that we did on the board. We also have some crystallized ginger that I'm going to add. Crystallized ginger generally comes in larger pieces, and we chop them up fine for this dish. We need to add something to spice it up a bit, and for that I'm going to use a jalapeno pepper. Be very careful when you cut these. If your skin is very sensitive, you'll need to put some gloves on. Most of the heat from the pepper comes from the seeds and the white vein that's inside. Just want to trim that out a little bit.
Right.
You don't want to make this too fiery. So now that we've pulled the seeds and most of that white vein out, we're going to chop this jalapeno into strips. These strips are about the size of matchsticks, which we call a julienne. And then we're going to just cut across the strips we've cut in a nice tiny little dice. You can add more or less of the jalapeno depending on your level of tolerance for the spice. Clean up on our board. And I think we're ready to put that on the stove. We'll put our heat up. We'll give that a little stir. We're going to bring that to a simmer, and we're going to let that cook down until the cranberries start to burst. Once they burst, this will continue to cook down a bit, and the cranberries will start to thicken up. Next off, we're going to get some Brussels sprouts going. We've got our Brussels sprouts cleaned, trimmed. All we want to do with these is take off the very bottom end, and then we're going to slice them in half. If they're huge Brussels sprouts, which sometimes they actually look like miniature heads of cabbage, about 1.5 inches, we'll sometimes quarter those. But with these, they're pretty reasonable size. In with that, we're going to put some whole garlic cloves, a little bit of salt, some fresh pepper, and a little drizzle of some olive oil. You want to mix that up just to coat the Brussels sprouts nicely and the garlic with the oil. Then we're going to pop that into a 425-degree oven, and we're going to let those cook up. I previously put some in so that we'll have them finished and I can show you exactly what they're supposed to look like when they're done. So we'll get those cooking. Our cranberries are starting to come to a simmer. I'll lower that down a bit, and we'll keep them simmering nicely. Next up, we're going to work on some poached pears. We're going to poach some pears in some red wine. For this, it's a little bit tricky. I'm going to show you a trick how to get the seeds out of the pear without destroying the entire pear. I want to peel my pear, so I'm peeling down, get all of that skin off. After we're done peeling this, we want to extract out all the seeds without destroying the shape of the pear. Just adjusting the flame on those cranberries. I'm taking a melon baller, going to go right into the bottom where the little root end is. And we're going to just dig out one little piece. Now we can start to see where that seed pocket is. I'm going to go in again and take out another section. I can still see some seeds in there. So I'm going to go one more time and try and extract everything out now. Okay, here we have our pear, which I can trim the bottom slightly so that it stands up nicely. We're going to take the pear. We have to add some cinnamon sticks, some fresh whole cloves, and some star anise. Star anise is a wonderfully fragrant spice that adds a nice licorice flavor to this dish. So we're going to add our cloves, our star anise, our cinnamon sticks. Put a few more star anise in. And we're going to add some sugar. And of course, our red wine. We're going to place this in our pot to simmer, and we're going to allow that to simmer until the pear is tender. Once the pear is completed cooking, we're going to allow it to sit in the liquid. I sometimes take the liquid and cool the liquid down with the pears removed, put the pears back in the liquid, and allow them to sit overnight. This helps to develop a beautiful, even dark color when you cut the pear. You'll also marinate the pears more heavily in this solution and make them a lot stronger and bolder in flavor. Along with that, we want to add a little bit more of our orange zest and lemon zest, which I've already got a pot going and those pears cooking, so I don't need to show you that process again.